Think like this if you want to be successful. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Nate Schmidt, and this video I think is going to be one of my most important videos to date. There's a serious problem that I see with people who are trying to get into online business, entrepreneurship, etc., and it has nothing to do with what they are doing and everything to do with how they are thinking. And truthfully, not understanding what I'm about to talk about in this video, I strongly believe is a huge reason why so many people fail at online business. I think this is honestly the missing puzzle piece for a lot of people, and I think if you watch this video to the end, you're going to get an immense amount of value out of it, especially if you really want to be successful with online business, with e-commerce, with whatever, and you just are not making progress, you can't seem to get started, whatever, this is for you. Now, before I get into the meat of things, I have to kind of give you some background so this all makes sense. So if you can sit back, forget about all the dopamine rushes of Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that kind of stuff, and actually sit down and watch this whole video, then yeah, I think you're gonna get a lot out of it. Let's get into it. So the background info is the way that you think and the way your brain operates, the kind of person that you are, is pretty much going to 100% determine how successful you can be in whatever various ventures you try your hand at. What you do, how you do it, these things are important, but you have to realize that everything really starts in your head. And if the way that you are thinking, if the way that your mind operates is not like an entrepreneur, is not like an employer, is not like a business owner, and is more like what most people's mindsets are like, which is basically the, quote unquote employee mindset, then no matter what you do, you're gonna be fighting an uphill battle the whole time, and it's probably not gonna work. So really, the most impactful thing you can do is to unlearn the things that are keeping you from doing the things that you need to do to succeed. Really, at the root of it, this stuff is not all that complicated. Making an income online is not really all that complex. There's not that much that you have to learn, and really it's pretty simple when you get down to the basics of it. But if your mind is not operating in the right way, then it doesn't even matter. Instead of trying to learn all this new stuff, you have to realize that not only do you have to learn a little bit of new stuff, but you have to unlearn just about all of the old stuff and really reprogram your entire brain. Imagine that episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob is burning his own memories to try to, I think he's trying to become like a fancy waiter, and he's burning, it's in his brain, he's burning all of his old memories.
Got an order from the boss. Dump everything that isn't about fine dining. Everything.
To try to basically only remember the things that he needs to know to be this fancy waiter.
Come on. Quicker. Delete.
That is really what you have to do. All right, so now I'm gonna get into three main ways that you can do this, and the three really big things that have helped me get to the point that I'm at today. Really just like key mindset shifts that you really have to understand to be successful with this stuff. So the first one is that it's up to you and you alone. Now, society trains us basically the exact opposite of this. When you're in school, if you don't know what to do, all you have to do is ask your teacher. If you're working a job and you don't know what to do, all you have to do is ask your boss and they will help you. When you start an online business, when you get stuck and don't know what to do, you have nothing. No one is going to be there to hold your hand when you don't know what to do. We've been raised in this environment where you have to ask permission just to go to the bathroom when you're in school. In business, there's no one to give you permission to do anything. There's no one to give you guidance to do anything. It's up to you and you alone, and that's it. You have to train yourself to be able to figure things out even when you don't really know how to figure things out. And it's amazing to me how many people never even get past this. Say they're trying to get into dropshipping, they pick a product, they build a store, they run some ads, it doesn't work, they don't know why, and then they just give up. Oh, I don't know how to fix it, man, I don't know, it's too hard, it's not real, dropshipping is dead, blah, blah. That's most people. And really what this comes down to is cultivating the skill of figuring things the fuck out. You have to be crafty, you have to be savvy, you have to go out and do the things that other people are not willing to do to figure out the answers to your problems. And really, one of the best tips I can give here is learn how to fucking use Google. The answers to just about anything that you could ever want to know are all out there somewhere online for 100% free. And it amazes me how many people DM me and message me and email me asking me questions that if they just spent 10 seconds looking it up on Google, looking through a few of the search results, they would be able to find that answer instant. But instead, they reach out to someone like me, they message me, and then they wait for my response and then just do nothing. They hope that I respond, and if I don't, then they just don't do anything. And they're like, oh, well, I couldn't find the answer. That's not how this works. You have to have the mindset that you're going to find the solution no matter what. And I'm not saying that you can't find someone to help you, because you absolutely can, but you have to realize that no one's going to be there with their hand out waiting for you to ask questions, waiting to answer your problems. When you don't know what to do, you have to figure it the fuck out, and that's the only way. There is no way around it. So, too long didn't read. Learn how to use Google. That's it. That's the tip. Now, the second thing that's really important to understand is the right way to learn. And school really fucks us up on this. The way society is set up is you have to go to school, and then after you're done with school, you have to go to school for another 4 years before you can even actually start making money in the real world. It trains us to think that we have to learn something, that we have to master something before we can actually go out and do it. And in business, it's like literally the exact opposite. In reality, the majority of the learning, the majority of the knowledge that you're going to gain isn't going to come by reading books, watching YouTube videos, buying courses, or anything like that, anything related to consuming content. That is not how you're going to gain real knowledge. The way you gain real knowledge is by going out and doing the thing, trying, failing, seeing the results, getting real feedback from the market, tweaking your strategy, doing that over and over and over again. You'll get to the point where you're really good at that thing. And the phase that so many people get stuck in is they think that in order to start taking action, they need to do a whole lot of learning and really master whatever it is they're trying to learn. That's not how this works. You don't need mastery to get started, not even anything close to that. You need a very base level understanding. That's it. And for just about everything when it comes to online business, marketing, whatever, there are very few things that take more than about a month of consistent learning to get a base level understanding. College is all drawn out. They have semesters and it's like 4 years and you have to do all these different things and things are really slow paced. If you learn quickly, if you actually do things consistently, you should be able to learn just about anything at a base level in 1 month. And if we were to structure starting an online business like a college semester where it's like 4 months, right? A semester is about 4 months. The best way to do things, in my opinion, would be to spend month 1, 100% learning, 0% taking action. Month 2, 20% learning, 80% taking action. Month 3, 10% learning, 90% taking action. Month 4, 0% learning, 100% taking action. Because at a certain point, there's only so much you can learn on the sidelines. At some point, you have to get in the game, do the thing, take action, learn from your mistakes, do things over and over and over again until eventually you get good and become a master of that thing. Most of the people I talk to who are not succeeding, especially with e-commerce, with dropshipping, they don't need to watch more YouTube videos. They need to run more ads. They need to spend more money testing products. They need to put offers out there into the world, get real feedback on them, and see for themselves what works and what doesn't. And if you do this, you get a very base level understanding of whatever it is you're trying to do, then you go out and you take ruthless action for months straight. If you do that over the course of a couple years, it's going to be impossible. If you are consistent and you do not give up, it is going to be impossible not to succeed. I've talked to a lot of people and I have never ever in my entire life once met a single person who consistently tried and failed at online business for multiple years in a row and did not succeed and make money. Literally never heard of it. It's impossible. Now, I could go on about this for hours, to be honest with you, but I want to keep this video somewhat concise. So the last thing we're going to talk about in today's video is limiting beliefs. Now, to understand this, first you have to understand that the way that you think, the way your mind operates, is a product of the way you were raised, the environment you were raised in, your parents, your teachers, everything that you were surrounded by growing up. All of these things create who you are as a person. And unless you were born into some sort of a very unique family where maybe both of your parents were entrepreneurs or some sort of other unique situation like that, there's a good chance that the person you are and the way that your mind operates is more so like an employee and not like an employer. Now, for example, society tells us that 90% of businesses fail. Society tells us that being rich isn't realistic. And your parents and teachers probably said similar things to you as well, because that is what they truly believe. But it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think 90% of businesses fail, then you're probably going to think that starting a business is not realistic and you're not going to be able to start a business. If you think that it's impossible to get rich, then you're never going to be able to get rich. And I love this quote. I forget who said this, but it's something along the lines of, those who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are usually the ones that do. So here's an interesting little exercise for you. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, what is the greatest thing I think I can achieve? And be honest with yourself. Don't just say some super high number because you're like, oh, I can do anything. Or don't say some super low number because you're like, oh, I can't do anything. Find a middle ground where you're like, I think this is possible. I'm a little scared. I'm not quite sure, but I think that's realistic. Figure out what that is. Then realize that that thought, whatever you believe is possible, is a result of all these things we're talking about. Your environment, the way you were raised, your teachers, your parents, etc. What you believe right now is a result of that. And therefore, what you believe to be your reality is what your reality will be. And really, what you have to do is you really have to brainwash yourself with irrational self-confidence. You have to believe that despite all odds, you are able and capable of achieving amazing things. And this is not a switch that just flips. It's not something you do overnight. And honestly, it can be difficult. But just try to suspend your disbelief for a second. Imagine you're the best possible version of yourself that can do absolutely anything that you set your mind to. And really, this is exactly what I did when I was first starting out. I genuinely used to think it was impossible to make money online. I did not think it was a real thing. I did not think it was an option for me. And I did not think that I would ever get to a point in my life where I could support myself 100% from my online businesses. But I wanted to do that. I really, really, really wanted to do that. And even though at the time I didn't really believe it, I just tried to suspend that disbelief for a little bit, and eventually I was able to do that long enough to make my first dollars online. You don't have to trick yourself for your entire life or anything like that. You just have to basically trick yourself into believing it's possible long enough to get those first small wins. Because once you get your first small wins, once you make your first sales, once you make your first dollars online, whatever it is that you want to achieve, once you have a little bit of results doing that thing, once you see it for yourself, that's what makes it all real. And from there, it's pretty easy because you've already seen it, you've already done it, and you just have to continue doing those things over and over again. I mean, you know the saying, seeing is believing, it's true. You just have to suspend your disbelief long enough to get those small wins. And guys, in reality, you are probably capable of 3 to 5 times more than you currently think you are. And I know this is kind of corny, but to do that, you have to actually believe it's possible. If you let them, your limiting beliefs will completely strangle any ability that you have. And really, you have to make a conscious effort to crush these limiting beliefs and make yourself believe that you can achieve what you want to achieve in life. All right, folks, to wrap this up, realize that never before in history has there been a better time to be alive. Never before in history has it been so possible and so honestly, I don't want to say easy, but kind of easy to create an independent income for yourself without working a job, without going to college, without whatever, without doing the traditional things that society tries to tell us is what we need to be doing. The internet and the digital world has changed so much about the way that we live, about the way that we make money, about the way that we learn, about the way that we really do just about everything. And while society and school and everything like that is a little late catching up on that and preparing us for this digital reality that we now live in, if you cultivate your mindset like this, if you realize that it is up to you and you alone, that you do not learn by learning, but instead you learn by actually doing, and that your limiting beliefs will crush you if you let them, and you have to crush them before that even happens. If you understand these things, you will be in an incredible position to take advantage of this stuff and really build a life that you love, that you don't feel like you have to escape from, that you don't feel like you're dreading Mondays and only looking forward to the weekend. You can love your life every single day of the week. It's extremely possible. It takes a lot of hard work, and you have to have the right mindset for it. You have to put in the work, but ultimately it's achievable for just about anyone who's not super dumb and who's actually willing to put in the work and actually will do it consistently and will not give up. There's not a whole lot that goes into it, folks. Unlearn the things that are keeping you from getting to the point where you want to be. I will see you in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that shit, blah, blah, blah. Content valuable, it's free. Subscribe, like it, comment, all that shit. We'll see you in the next one.